me. Now, how are we looking, George? Is this about everyone for now?
Looking pretty good.
Great. Got a few more coming. I'll let them come in. So I'd like to say welcome to everyone. We've got 36 people on now, which is wonderful. And yay, I'm still enjoying online for these sorts of things. So that's fantastic. So on behalf of Damon and myself and our board and Georgina and the team, welcome everyone to this online national hui. We've got a great week planned for you that George and the team have put together. We've got a excess of riches of information, of sharing insights and experience and insights to our different hubs. And we're really excited about where EHA is going, where we've come from, where our future is going and where we are at the moment, and really excited to be sharing the journey with all of you. So to open this morning, I just like to start with karakia timatanga to set our space this morning, if you'd like to join me. You may know it, tuia ki runga. So tuia ki runga, tuia ki raro, tuia ki waho, tuia ki roto, tuia ki te here tangata, ka rongo te pō, ka rongo te ao, homie, hui, tai ki. Kia ora. We're going to start this morning. Or Damon, do you want to say anything? My partner in crime.
Well, tēnā koutou katoa, and lovely to see everyone here this morning. It would be, in my view, more lovely if we were all together in the same room, but this is definitely the next best thing. But maybe next year, who knows? These sorts of gatherings will be possible again, and just lovely to see a number of familiar faces this morning, and really looking forward to engaging with one another and building some community over the course of this week, and exploring and learning more about all of the wonderful work that everyone's doing on the ground across the country, and the real sense of momentum I'm picking up now around, actually getting communities engaged and taking action together. So welcome, haere mai, looking forward to the conversation.
And a special shout out to those who are gathered in groups. I can see at E&M down the Manawatu and Hawke's Bay. I can see you got morning tea ready to go. I feel like we're running a kids show now. And hello to all the teddies out there. One of the things we wanted to acknowledge was that it's been a hard couple of years, and this year has been tough as well, the comings and the goings. The good things, the silver linings, have brought us closer together, made us stronger, but also I just want to mihi for those who have lost people or who have had hard times over this, and just thinking about you and your whānau and communities and how you've come through, where I think we're a more honest bunch. You can't beat around the bush, just have to be straight with people about where you are on any given day. And I think that's probably a good thing that we learn to communicate. So ngā to all of you, and if you need to pop out for whatever, we're all doing the work from home version, or work from office. I guess some of you work from office, and it's lovely to see. Right, we're going to kick off with sharing an overview of Enviro Hub's Aotearoa, who we are and where we are at the moment. So I'm just going to share my screen, and Damon, if you can just let me know, because I have quite a large screen, just make sure you can all read it. So here goes. Oh.
Yeah, and just hit slideshow, Janet. Yeah, yep. There we go.
Will do.
One slide, just
thank
back
you.
one.
Okay. So did you want to speak to this slide, Damon? Shall I click on?
I think we can click on, Janet.
Awesome. So maybe if I kick off on this one, we're just going to take turns and play a tag team. So as most of you will know, this is our strategy on a page, and it's taken a while to put this together, and credit to all those who have worked together on it. The white writing is a little bit light, but really we're not going to go through this in a lot of detail. It's on our Padlet, and I think most of you will have seen it. It took a little while to work through because it really focused our board and the input that we got from our centres on what is really important for EHA as a collective to do, and what it is that we want EHA to do to strengthen each of the hubs and the hub members as a collective. So the Environment Hubs Aotearoa supports community-led solutions that empower regeneration and resilience. And we've got 5 key areas: our growing capability and capacity, strengthening our collective, building systemic change, building EHA's brand, and developing and implementing our treaty framework. So on the left, you can see our treaty statement. We felt that it was important that it wasn't just another petal, and so we developed a statement there to reflect what is important and why we're recognising Te Tiriti. And on the right are our values. So there are 5 values there that we reflect in all that we do. Damon, do you want to add anything more to that?
No, I think it's probably just good if everyone at some point during this week, if you can make a little bit of time to engage with the wheel and just have a read over it, and just familiarize maybe yourself with some of the goals and ambitions and the way we work and so on. I think that would probably be helpful.
And I do want to acknowledge the board's work on this, and many of the board are here today. Want to acknowledge Mariella, who was our chair and a co-chair for quite a while. She's had a loss in the family and couldn't be here today. Okay, Damon.
Yeah, so the board is made up of mostly representatives from the various hubs across the country. If you feel that you would be interested in taking a position on the board in the future, then the time to think about that and do that is usually at our AGM, which this year, Georgina, correct me if I'm wrong, is in October. Is that right?
Yes, correct. End of October.
Thank you. Currently, myself and Janet are the co-chairs. I was the former CEO at Eco Matters Trust in Auckland for around about 7 years, and left there in August, and have stayed on the board as an independent since that time. Other than that, welcome this morning to Tina Ivory. Tina, I saw on the call before. You might want to wave your hand, Tina. I can't see, of course, it's because there's a presentation, we can't actually see all the faces, so maybe flag that. Marielle, who's away, as Janet said, with a funeral today. Susie from Sustainability Trust in Wellington, kia ora Susie. Michael Mars from the Waiheke Resources Trust. Eleda Kamini from the Waikato and Go Eco. Stephen Van Wonderen from sunny Raglan or Whaiangaroa, and our most recent addition to the board, Ben Elder from the Christchurch Enviro Hub. So we try to have representation from both the north and the south, from large centres and small, and I think that slowly our board, well, I'm really happy with the makeup of the board at the moment, because we do now have South Island representation again with Ben coming on, and a good mix of sort of the bigger and smaller hubs. So that's about our board at the moment. We meet once a month, and yeah, welcome to send us feedback.
And if anyone has questions, sorry. Right, try that again. If anyone has questions or comments, please pop them in the chat. I can see that Georgina is putting some links and things in there if you want to know more or find your way around. So we have two subcommittees. The Funding Steering Committee that Damon is facilitating, and the Sustainable Partnership and Revenue Committee, which is quite a new committee and which I'm facilitating. So funding steering, some of you are on that, and that is the committee that oversees our distribution of funding around to all of the centres and manages the funding application process with support of the staff. So as we've grown and developed, we are continually looking to improve that process. And I know some of you have fed back your experiences and suggestions about making it better. And I think it's in quite a good space at the moment. So thanks to everyone that's contributed to that. The Sustainable Partnership Revenue Committee is particularly now we've had our agreement with Ministry for Environment for this current deed for a couple of years in this current funding structure. We wanted to, before we get too far into it, we wanted to be looking at diversifying our funding and income. And so we're not just dependent on one source of income. And we think that's really important for the sustainability of the organisation and for each of your hubs and for the work that we do. And one of the things I think through the last couple of years that has become clear to us, not just because of COVID, but also the other things that are being brought to sharp relief. For some of us, it feels like, gosh, it's taken a while for everyone else to come around to it. So particularly around climate impacts and particularly around being tangata tiriti. So working on those things, how do we work and how we can increase the impacts and participation of what we do. And it just becomes more and more important in terms of the work and the partnerships. So that work will get increasingly important as well. Hey, Damon, tag you in.
So with the signing of the latest MFE deed now back in 2019, I think it must have been late 2019, we've been able to grow the operating staff of the organisation, which has been amazing because previously Georgina was a one-person band, and the board also was doing really a lot of the operational tasks of the organisation. I think everyone in this room is probably familiar with what that looks like. So it's always, of course, a great relief when you can start to bring in some people who actually have the headspace to focus on the actual delivery of what we're trying to achieve. And we've got a fantastic team now. It actually looks like a lot, but it's still only, George was telling us the other day, 1.8 FTEs. So all of the work that EHA does is still less than 2 full-time roles. And we've got Georgina, who's our EO. Thank you, George, for all your work, putting together this hui again and bringing everyone together. Admin support, Jess, she's on the call as well. Data curator is Jen, who's doing a fantastic job of looking at all of the things that we achieve together and how we tell that. in a meaningful way, and Michelle, who is supporting the team with financial expertise. And hopefully you have all seen, and if you haven't, I suggest you go on to Do Good Jobs and take a look, because you may know someone who is appropriate for these roles. 2 part-time roles that can be literally done anywhere in the country: an impact storyteller and a partnership and revenue specialist. So please, if you want to know more about those roles, make an inquiry either to Georgina or Jess, probably even better, over the course of this week. Yep, there we go. The link's already in the chat, and tell your friends even if you're not interested yourself. But those are 2 really interesting new jobs and opportunities. Thanks, Janet.
Okay. So just as we thought we'd give you some examples of what we're looking to do, building the collective and building our capacity and the potential to grow our impact together. So Georgina has facilitated these 3 opportunities which have come up through partnerships and networking. So the Essential Fresh Water Fund came up through Ministry for Environment. We were invited to submit an expression of interest. So that wasn't something that could have come up just through us watching on the media or through the GETS website or something like that. It was actually an invitation only, and we put proposals together. So in there, George is just working through what the opportunity may be for that. Biodiversity pilot opportunity, I understand that was also an invitation and put out to all hubs to register an interest for being part of that opportunity. And precious plastics, expression of interest. So that's working with others to achieve change in the area of plastics. So each of those are a little bit different, but each of them are about working with others to achieve best outcomes and to demonstrate how that might be done for others as well.
Thanks, Janet. I think we actually missed a slide. Do you mind going back one? Thank you.
Thank you.
So just quickly, yeah, this was supposed to come before that last one. The current really critical relationships that we have, and of course there's too many to name, but the MFE, Ministry for the Environment funding, is what underpins absolutely everything that, well, not absolutely everything, but a great majority of the things that EHA is able to do on behalf of the network. And of course, the funding that we are able to provide to all of the hubs across the country for operating costs and so on. The annual investment, as you can see there, is about $1.6 million, over of which 1.16, this is about average, by the way, that's not actually, these are not actuals, is distributed to the hubs. I can say, having been involved with EHA, for those of you who are new, that represents a significantly better package than where we were at 3 years ago. So, you know, I think we do need to acknowledge our MFE partners. They really did hear us when we said that we needed a different way of being supported. We needed a different level of investment, and you know, over a number of years, we built up to the point where we are at today, where it's a really solid relationship. And what I hear from our MFE partners is that they're really happy at the ministry with how everything is going. So that's really, really encouraging to hear. And hopefully that means, you know, that this investment and this relationship can stay you know, well into the future, because we all know that the issues that we're dealing with are not going to go away at the end of this funding deed. Other key partnerships are with the Zero Waste Network, Community Energy Network, and Parakore, all doing great work themselves. And Georgina has really close relationships, and the other members of the team, with those organisations, so that we can actually build a picture of our collective impact. And then there are others as well, such as the Sustainable Living Education Trust that I saw Reese is on the line. Nice to see you, Reese. And we're exploring other opportunities with AFRA and NZAEE. I got to admit, I don't actually know what those acronyms stand for, but I'm sure they'll be great partnerships.
Auckland, the AFRA one is the food rescue one. Somewhat, George, bail us out.
NZA is the New Zealand Association for Environmental Education.
Thank you, Reese.
Thanks, Reese.
And what's AFRA, George?
It's the, I'm probably going to get it slightly wrong, but it's the Association of Food Rescue Organisations.
Aotearoa, I think.
Yeah, sounds good.
Thank you. So this is looking at our strategic petals. So one of our focuses on capacity capability. So as part of that, George has been working with one of the Parakore facilitators one of the Parakore staff who also teaches te reo and leads te tiriti training. And so she's been supporting EHA in our treaty training workshops, and a number of you will have participated in those already. We're just into our second course now. So as part of the fundamentals of understanding how we have become tangata tiriti in Aotearoa, that lays down the groundwork, and we don't see that as the end point. We see that as some of the foundation, so that then we can say, how can we best become a tangata tiriti organisation? So really important that all of the hubs participate in that, as is the tailored governance training. So there's been a series of governance sessions. Many of your boards will be participating in that. And I don't know about you, but my board member who's participating has said it's fantastic. So this is a partnership with LEAD, who have a specialty in working with what would have been called not-for-profits. I'd call them for-purpose organisations, and it's been fantastic for her to be networking with other board members at a governance level, and to really focus in on what's important and what she can bring back to our board. So I really feel that we're in a really strong position with that support, so thank you. And we've also been able to extend financial support for smaller hubs, and look at how we have a range of memberships and supports with things like the peer-to-peer travel, and not just travel, but the peer-to-peer program. So connecting those who are in a sort of tuakana taina way, who can support others to grow up or to understand what it might look like to move into different focus areas. And so that's resulted in things like networking calls, such as the Food Focus Zoom Hui, which has been a series of a few of those, looking at what aspects of food and how different ones are working at different scales. So that's been fantastic. Damon. Oh, sorry, you're on mute.
Sorry, everyone. The final slide, and nearly at the end of the presentation, and then we can get on to networking and getting to know each other better. But one of the other things that we offer at EHA is the Padlet and some related services. So let me just check if Georgina has... I'm sure Georgina will share the link to the Padlet, where you can find a whole range of resources. Sorry, go George.
I was just going to say it's right at the top. Should be there.
Okay,
Yeah.
There we go. So the Padlet is the place where EHA keeps all of its sort of documentation that relates to things that we've done over the years. There's stuff about health and safety, there's stuff about strategy, there's a whole lot of things that hubs might find useful depending on your stage of evolution. So do take a look there. The national map is a project that our data curator Jen has been primarily working on in collaboration with some other providers, which is basically a way to understand where our projects are landing on the ground and where we're working and what we're doing and where we're having an impact. Once again, there are a couple of hubs that have got some really good case studies now in the map, so it's a good idea to go and have a look at those. And there are opportunities for other hubs, if they're interested, to develop their own map over time. So do have a conversation with Jen or George if that's something that sounds like you might be interested in that in the future. And of course, the buyers group's been fantastic. The buyers group is where we as a collective, because we actually, you know, we're all spending a reasonable amount of money together. When you add it all up across our hubs, we've actually been able to get some really good deals with certain providers. And that's certainly the case on insurance, where because most of the hubs now are using Rothbury Insurance, we've been able to procure a really good deal for our hubs through Rothbury, and we get looked after, which is fantastic. And there's also the 2 Zoom accounts which you can use at any time, which is often really helpful, especially for our smaller hubs that are just getting underway and may not have resource at the moment to have their own dedicated Zoom account. So that's a very quick overview of all of the things that we're sort of moving forward with and offering to our members and our hubs. Hopefully everyone here has experienced some benefit from the various things that are underway. There's a huge plethora of activity in the networks and with the work EHA is doing. So it's a really exciting time, and I'm encouraged to see we've got new members coming on board all the time now, and you know, we're really starting to fill out the map of Aotearoa so that we can see we've got action on the ground from the top of the north to the bottom of the south, really. So it's a fantastic opportunity that we all have right now working together. Ngā mihi.
Sorry, I was preempting you there. Thanks, Damon, and that is what we wanted to share, and then have Pātai. So do you have questions or would you like to share comments? So I'm going to stop sharing. We can see everyone's faces, and you're welcome to put your hand up, or as long as we don't have a million at once, we can actually handle a few people chiming in. Okay, well, if you have any thoughts or comments, continue to pop them in the chat, or we can come to them through the week, or if you send us some feedback and we can address it as part of another session if that theme is appropriate. So really love to see you all, and we'd like to hand over to Georgina for the next part of this session. Ngā mihi.